Every year in the January issue of Booklist, we publish the Editor's Choice lists, 5 of them, which are the best books that we've reviewed in the previous year. And we also publish a shorter list called Top of the List, which are the best of the best. And on the back page, we also have a traditional list where Editor-in-Chief Bill Ott polls us on our personal reading for the year, which is sometimes a bit of a challenge because some of our editors review hundreds of books in a given year, and they don't necessarily have time for a lot of personal reading. So sometimes the choices are kind of eclectic, let's say. My favorite piece of personal reading was Don't Point That Thing at Me by Kirill Bonfiglioli, if I'm saying it right. I was on vacation in Montana in August, and I was in a small bookstore called Shakespeare and Company, one of the world's many bookstores called Shakespeare and Company. And I needed some vacation reading, lake reading, and I was taken in by the blurb on the front cover. Julian Barnes says that this book promises a rare mixture of wit and imaginative unpleasantness, and it's kind of hard to do better than that.
The book I read this year was The Eustace Diamonds by Anthony Trollope, and I was actually on maternity leave when I got to read a little bit for fun, and I was going to read the new Harry Potter book, but it was so heavy, the hardcover, that I kept kind of bonking my new baby on the head, and that didn't work out so well. So instead I went with a nice thick Penguin classic, but much more lightweight. And because I read kids' books all the time for fun and for work, when I do just get to read totally of my own choice, I like to pick something that's, nice and thick and meaty, and usually by a dead person is nice.
The book that I chose, my favorite personal reading of the year, is actually personal listening. It was Crescent by Dianu Abu-Jabbar, and it's read by Nike Dukas and Marcello Tubert. And normally when I listen to an audiobook, I do other things. I chop vegetables, I drive to IKEA. This audiobook was so compelling that it just kept me bolted down in place until the last disc was through.
My book is entitled Hate Ship, Friendship, Courtship, Love Ship, Marriage. It's a collection of short stories by Alice Munro. So first of all, I didn't pick it because I love the title. I hate the title. I think it's like the most cumbersome title ever given to a book. But on the other hand, so a little background here, the last 2 years I have been working on a critical study of the works of Alice Munro. So that's pretty much all I have read, and outside of what I've reviewed for Booklist. So this is what I read this past year, and I really think, despite the title, it's my favorite of all of her collections, simply because it has more stories in it that I just happen to like, that I think are close to masterpieces. So, if people out there have not read Alice Munro, shame on you.
I chose The God of Hell by Sam Shepard because I love Sam Shepard's work, because I read so much that reading a play was a good thing because it was shorter, but also it's a hilarious political satire. It's really quite wicked, set in one of the last family farms in Wisconsin, involving an intrusive and lying government, torture, nuclear experiments. It's very cheerful.
This is Ruslan and Lyudmila, which is my favorite book that I read, not for work, last year, by Alexander Pushkin, the great Russian poet. Anyway, and it is a poem. It is a poem. It's in this edition, it's in Cyrillic and English, alphabets. So it's the original plus the translation. Anyway, the reason I read it was I noticed that there was going to be a showing of Ruslan and Lyudmila, the movie, which is the last and most delightful, maybe, film by Alexander Ptushko, who is a Russian filmmaker who specialized in fantasy films.
I was shocked to find out this year that I hadn't read one book that wasn't associated with work. Now, I do spend a lot of time on the internet, Drudge and Daily Kos and Huffington Post. They take up a lot of time, and I suppose I could have been reading a book while I was on the internet so much. But then I would have had to choose one, and I didn't really have time to choose one because I'm on the internet too much.